Hello dear students, and welcome to another video in which we'll talk about gerunds and infinitives. As students become more proficient in English, they begin focusing on some of the trickier aspects of the language. And one of those aspects is the gerunds and infinitives. Their use is completely natural for native speakers, but it requires a bit of breaking down in class. So in this video, we'll try to clarify the use of gerunds and infinitives as much as possible. So the first part, we'll talk about gerunds. So what is a gerund? A gerund is the noun form of a verb that ends in ing form. For example, playing, giving, studying, swimming, collecting. So it is verb plus ing. But right away, this is confusing for some students as they are used to seeing that form as the continuous or the progressive form of the verb. For example, she's eating or they were dancing. However, a gerund is a noun and is the subject or object of the sentence. Examples are: cooking is my favorite hobby. You can also say playing tennis is my hobby, or I hate studying. So in the first example, cooking is my favorite hobby, here the gerund plays the role of a subject. We have cooking plus verb. Cooking is a verb. So then cooking plays the role of a subject. Or when you say I hate studying, then here the gerund plays the role of an object. Remember, English sentences are SVO, which means subject, verb, object. I hate studying. I is a subject, hate is a verb, and studying is an object. So the gerund form here, studying, plays the role of an object. Alright, so now, when do we use the gerund? 1. As the subject or object of a sentence, as mentioned earlier. Other examples: collecting flowers is my hobby. I like collecting flowers. 2. We use gerunds after prepositions. Examples: they are interested in studying archaeology. They dream of becoming archaeologists. They are crazy about discovering ancient cities. They are tired of digging in the sand. Prepositions like in, of, about. Other expressions that are used before gerunds are good at. For example, we can say he is good at playing football. Bad at, keen on, bored with, fed up with, afraid of. Gerunds are also used after specific verbs such as like, hate, dislike, can't stand, mind, look forward to, enjoy, prefer, fancy, feel like. All of these verbs are followed by gerund. Okay. Other verbs like start, stop, continue, begin, finish, quit, give up, practice. And remember, forget, avoid, can't help. So all of these verbs are followed by a gerund. Examples: I enjoy watching football on TV. I hate traveling by coach. She started playing the guitar 2 years ago. Other examples: he's trying to quit smoking. Do you remember building sandcastle when we were kids? 4. Go plus ing. Examples: we're going shopping tomorrow. We're going shopping tomorrow. This is for future plans. I go swimming twice a week. Other examples: go shopping, go swimming, go fishing, go skiing, etc. So all of these activities that we do are preceded by go. Okay, so they are in gerunds form. 5. Be or get used to plus ing. Example: I'm used to getting up early in the morning. Alright, this is it for the first part of gerunds. Now let's talk about infinitives. So what is an infinitive? An infinitive is to plus base form. For example, to play, to dance, to eat, to see, to speak, to hear, to play, to go, to work. So the infinitive has two forms: to plus infinitive, to plus base form, and the bare infinitive. This is the infinitive without to. See, speak, hear are bare infinitives. To play, to go, to work are infinitives with to. Some people call the whole infinitive the base form, but I think it's easier for students to think of infinitives as the two parts that they are to plus base form, and stress that they need both of these parts to form the complete infinitive. Okay. As mentioned earlier, the infinitive is of two forms: the bare infinitive, which is infinitive without to, and full infinitive, which is infinitive with to. Now, when do we use the full infinitive? We use it after specific verbs such as want, agree, accept, refuse, reject, invite, decide, choose, plan, learn, hope, manage, achieve, promise, ask, offer. Examples: when I grow up, I want to become a musician. He offered me a cold beer, but I refused to drink it. He invited me to go for dinner, but I didn't have the time. More examples: it was raining heavily, so he offered to drive me home. When they finish high school, they plan to go to university. After walking for many hours, they managed to get to the top of the mountain. 2. In the structure, it is plus adjective plus full infinitive. It's nice to see you again. It was hard to say goodbye after the holidays. So here we have it's plus an adjective. It is followed by 2 plus the infinitive, which we call full infinitive. It's nice to. It is hard to. It is difficult to. It is easy to, etc. So all of these structures, all of these expressions are followed by a full infinitive. 3. Another structure here. I am plus adjective plus full infinitive. For example, I am sorry. I am sorry to. Let's say, I am sorry to bother you, for example. I am surprised to. I am pleased to. When we say, I am pleased to meet you. I am glad to. I am happy to. I'm amazed to. I'm delighted to. Examples. We were surprised to have an unexpected guest in our house. Oops, I'm sorry to hurt you. 4. Too or not enough to. Too or enough, okay? This coffee is too hot to drink. She's too tired to keep working. She hasn't got enough time to finish the test. He has got enough money to buy a new car. He isn't strong enough to lift that weight. Now when do we use the bare infinitive, which is infinitive without to? 1. After the modal verbs can, must, should. Example, he can speak Spanish. You mustn't smoke in hospital. 2. After the verbs let, make. For example, I was really sad that my parents don't let me go outside in the night, but then I met a friend whose dad turns off the Wi-Fi at 11 p.m. I can always make you smile. So let and make, both of them are used before the bare infinitive. Alright, so you should know that sometimes we use both gerunds and infinitives, but with no change in the meaning. So you may be already familiar with these three, like, love, hate. This is the easiest category because it really doesn't matter. The meaning is exactly equal between I hate cleaning and I hate to clean. Other verbs in this category include prefer, continue, begin. So all of these verbs that I've mentioned earlier can be followed by both gerund and infinitives, and they don't change the meaning. But sometimes there are some verbs that can be followed by both gerunds and infinitives, but the meaning changes. So this is the trickiest rule, and likely the one that will require the most explaining as well as the most practice. So I find that a lot of examples are helpful, and they encourage you to create your own examples as well. So the plus side though is that there are very few words on this list, and we'll just look at the main 5. Alright, so for example, verb stop. An example sentence with the gerund, he stopped smoking. This means he smoked for a time, but then he quit. Another example sentence with an infinitive, he stopped to smoke. This means that He took a break from something else he was doing to have a cigarette. He stopped walking in order to smoke. Another verb is try. Example, we tried opening the door, but it still wouldn't budge. So here we probably tried other options as open the door, or we tried other options to open the door. When we use the gerund, for example, we tried to open the door. This means that the only thing we tried was to open the door. We tried with intention. Forget. She forgot locking the door. This means that she did lock the door, but then she forgot she had done it. Another example with the infinitive, she forgot to lock the door. She did not lock the door because she forgot. With the verb remember, she remembered calling her friend. This means that she called her friend and she remembered that she did. With the infinitive, she remembered to call her friend. This means that she had lists of things to do. Calling her friend was one of them, and she did it. Regret. They regret letting him go. This means that they let him go, fired him, for example, but then after they felt bad and wished they hadn't. Another example with the infinitive, they regret to let him go. This means that they haven't let him go yet, but they will even though they feel about it. Alright guys, so I hope this is clear enough for you. I know that some of you may notice a pattern at this point. One way to think about when to use the gerund and when to use the infinitive with these words is that the action of the gerund, the second verb, is the first action, and the first verb is the second action. For example, first he smoked, but then second he stopped. But with the infinitives, it is the opposite. The first verb is the first action, and then infinitive is the second action. First he stopped, whatever he was doing, walking for instance, and second, he smoked. Alright, so my advice for you is to focus on the verbs that have clear rules, the ones discussed here. After students feel comfortable with those, then you can start practicing with the rest of verbs. And fortunately, I think those are simple for you to remember. Just do some practice exercises and then you will do just fine. Alright, I hope this is clear enough for you.